What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. What's up? What's up? And everyone who's tuning in today, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel, help make the show the best that it can be. All right. Let's go back in the hands of time, man. 9 years ago, 2016 NBA Finals. 2016 NBA Finals that pitted the Golden State Warriors versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And both teams had met up in the previous finals for the first time against each other in 2015, where Golden State will come back from a 2-1 deficit, win 3 straight games to claim their first title in the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green era, right? And I tell you, man, when I think of this series right here, for all the marbles, the most memorable, the most infamous ruling in the history of professional sports took place. And I'm talking about the suspension of one Draymond Green. Now, the Golden State Warriors were trying to make history, winning the championship after breaking the regular season victory total of the 1996 Chicago Bulls team that also broke the record of the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers team, when the 72 Lakers won 69 regular season games, which include a 33-game win streak, which is the longest such streak by any team in professional team sports history of any sport, NBA, baseball, NFL, hockey. And then the 72 Bulls set the new mark of 72 wins. And then the Golden State Warriors, the 2015-2016 Warriors, started the season off. I believe their record was something like 25-0 with interim head coach Luke Walton leading the team, while Steve Kerr had to have back surgery early part of that season. But nonetheless, Golden State was looking to make history, and the Cavaliers won 57 regular season games that year. And what's crazy is Golden State actually struggled in the in the series before, the Western Conference Finals versus the Oklahoma City Thunders. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, Thabo Sefolosha. They had a darn good team. And I knew that series was going 7 games. And that was a classic play, one of the best playoff series I've ever seen in the NBA. What was crazy is Golden State clearly showed they were the better team. And this was before anybody ever thought that Kevin Durant would sign with the team as a free agent, for the previous 3 years, for the following 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2019. So the first 2 games of this series, Golden State won convincingly. And I believe game 2, they won by, it was a runaway. Now game 3, I believe game 1, Golden State won by double figures. And then game 2, they ran away with it. So I figured game 3, I said, okay, Cleveland, one thing I never do in a final series, I never say a team is going to get swept. The team that winds up losing, I never say a team is going to get swept. The only time that I ever felt that a team was going to get swept, there was only one time and one time only. That was the 2007 finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that was the only time that I said a team was going to get swept. And it wasn't because the Spurs were some juggernaut that year, because out of all the championships that the Spurs won during the Tim Duncan years, Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, this was the least talented of all of the championship teams by the Spurs. So that wasn't the reason why. And I'll leave that for another day. But I say, okay, Cleveland's going to win game 3. They're going to win game 3. Now, game 4, that was the watershed game, because Cleveland needed to tie this series up. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Golden State. And the first 3 quarters, it was highly contested. It was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But then Golden State took control in that fourth quarter, and they wound up winning, I believe, by 10 points, 10, 11 points. I think the score was something like 107, 97, 108, 97. Now, this was the infamous brush up between Draymond Green and LBJ, where LBJ stepped over stepped over Draymond Green when Draymond Green was, he was laid down on the court. He was laid down. I think he failed or something on the court, and then LBJ stepped over him. And then Draymond Green reacted in a way like, man, what are you doing stepping on me, stepping over top of me, man? Don't be stepping on me like that, stepping over me like that. That was the competitor in him. And then they had a little brush up, a little back and forth. No blows were thrown or nothing like that. The referee separated both players, made sure it didn't get out of hand. The game finished out. Nobody was ejected. Nobody deserved to be ejected. So Draymond Green didn't deserve to be ejected. And LBJ didn't deserve to be ejected. The game ended. Golden State went up 3-1. And what's funny is, when you go back to the 2015 finals, when Golden State won in 6 games, well, a lot of people said, well, the only reason Golden State won was because Kyrie Irving was out that series after he suffered an injury. I think that was a knee injury at the start of game 1 of their finals. And then Kevin Love he was injured throughout the postseason after separating his shoulder. And I believe that was the first round, if I'm not mistaken, first round. And he missed the entire postseason, so the rest of the playoffs. So on my mind, going into this series, 2016 finals, I said Golden State is going to win anyway. Regardless of who, you can have Kyrie, Kevin Love in uniform, and Golden State is still going to win this series. I put it this way, I picked Golden State to win this series because I hate to keep referring, but the drive and kick system that LBJ relies on, it fell right into that was tailor-made for Golden State to exploit. Their strategy was, and I'm finna prove something. Their strategy was, we'll let LBJ drive to the basket unimpeded and get his points. But we're going to make sure he's not able to kick it off to them shooters. You see what I'm saying? We're going to make sure and then sooner or later it'll balance out to where Golden State's defensive interior defense led by Draymond Green, because remember, Draymond Green was the defensive player of the year in 2016. And he deserved that award. And the thing about Draymond, I know you get a lot of flack, when he's really not focused on playing. He be saying all this off the wall stuff all the time. But when he's focused on the game, he knows how to play the game. He knows how to play the game. And he has contributed to their championships, Golden State. He knows how to play, So anyway, after the game, Golden State went up 3-1. Right? And I remember watching the post game, and Uh, Draymond Green was featured in the post game wrap up with Charles Barkley, Grant Hill, and the host of NBA TV. So everybody laughing and talking. Draymond Green had his, he had his street clothes on, no pun intended, and he had like a leather jacket. They was laughing and stuff, man. I'm sitting there like, yeah, this series over. I had forgot all about the brush up between him and LBJ. I forgot all about it because it was inconsequential. That series was over. You say Game 5 in Golden State, they riding high. Draymond Green playing great. Their defense was on point. Now in Game 3 they got blown out because you figure, okay, Cleveland gonna make sure they win Game 3. You know what I'm saying? But Game 4 they adjusted to what Cleveland did, and like I said, Kyrie was healthy. Kevin Love was there. Everybody was there. Everybody was there. Okay. So I'm thinking in my mind, man, I said, okay, game 5 on Sunday. I said, this is a wrap. This is a wrap. And then all of a sudden, the post game, Chris Broussard reporting and Brian Windhorst, and all of a sudden they start talking about Draymond Green called LBJ out his name. I won't refer to the name. I think everybody kind of know what went down. I'm saying, man, you see players trash talk all the time throughout the course of history. This ain't no biggie. We seen it in the 2000s. We seen it in the 90s. We seen it in the 80s. We saw Larry Bird and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar go toe to toe, trash talking each other, going off on each other. That's competition. So in my mind, man, I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there like, okay, whatever. So the next day, it was reported that Draymond Green was going to be suspended. I said, for what? In my mind, like, what for? Because I forgot about the brush up. I forgot all about it. So, and the thing about it, man, now, we know about the fact that Draymond Green could be kind of belligerent out there at times. And he was issued a lot of technicals. Now, in the series versus Oklahoma City, now he did strike Steven Adams in his midsection. Now, that was the series where he should have been suspended. I agree with that. He should have been suspended in Game 4. But the thing about it, OKC went up 3-1 in that series. So even if Draymond Green was out, the fact that Golden State came back 3-1, come back and take that series, that wouldn't have been consequential to Golden State. You see what I'm saying? Because OKC went up 3-1. Game 5 was in Golden State, so you knew Golden State was going to win Game 5. Game 6 was that was the telltale. And then Klay Thompson went off and hit like 11 threes in that game to tie the series. So once you know the series was tied, you knew Golden State was going to win Game 6. And like I said, it was a tremendous series between those two teams. That series was actually better than the finals. Okay, so I'm sitting there, man. I'm just bewildered. I said, how in the world did this man get suspended, much less in the championship round? And when you see the replay, like I said, LBJ stepped over Draymond Green, and Draymond Green just reacted. And now he did, like thrust his arm out. But if you look at the replay, he didn't make no serious contact with LBJ. But what's crazy is Cleveland was looking to suspend Draymond Green for 2 games. And then the league compromise came back and said, okay, we're going to suspend him for Game 5. So I'm sitting here, man. I like, are you freaking kidding me? You going to suspend a player for a play that he did not initiate, as far as the interaction at that moment, the conflict. And like I said, neither player threw blows. Neither player deserved to be ejected for that, because this is the championship we talking about here. So it's gonna be hostile and volatile. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there, like I said Cleveland is being given a free game, and I remember saying Cleveland's going to win by at least 15 points. And it was so bad, Draymond Green wasn't even allowed to attend the game. He had to watch it. I think he was at the Oakland baseball stadium to tune in and watch that game. I said, I be dang, they finna give Cleveland a free game. That's huge, man. Momentum, because momentum is the best of 7. One game can shift everything. So I'm sitting there, I say, Game 5. I said, this is a free ride right here. And then you had LBJ and Kyrie Irving both score over 40 points. The first time two players on the same team score 40 points in the same game during the NBA Finals since Jerry West and Elgin Baylor did it back in the 60s. But see, the thing about it, when something is manipulated like that, that's manipulation. That's manipulation. Now, if you want to find Draymond Green, go right ahead. But he didn't initiate that. That's what's crazy about it. He didn't initiate that. If you want to say, well, we're going to suspend him at the start of next season for X amount of games, okay, cool. But with the championship on the line, both teams have played all these games to get there. You can't do that, man. You can't do that. So what happened was, now remember, Draymond Green was suspended because of an accumulation of technicals that preceded that. So entering Game 6 back in Cleveland, where Draymond Green was in uniform, where he played so tentative that if he got another technical, he was going to be suspended again for Game 7. So you knew Cleveland was going to win Game 6. They at home, they got the momentum. Draymond Green can't play as aggressive as he wants to because he worried about getting attacked, and it affects the whole energy of the team of Golden State. So I said, wait a minute. That suspension gave Cleveland 2 games. Let's be real. Cleveland blew out Golden State in Game 6. So I said, I'd be dang. That shit, man, we talking about professional sports, man. We ain't talking about like video game. We ain't talking about like, 2K or something like that. This for all the marbles, man. People tuning in want to see who's gonna be the best team by the end of the series. So here we are, do or die Game 7. Well, in the Game 7, anything can happen. You really don't have no favorites in the Game 7. It can go either way. And then Andrew Bogut, he got hurt later on in this series. I think actually Game 5, he got hurt. Now that's something unforeseen. You can't plan for nothing like that to happen. I'm just saying how momentum, when Golden State was in a position to clinch that series in 5 games because of Draymond Green, who was Defense Player of the Year, and he's a very key, intricate part of their success with his ability to facilitate at times. And he was hitting a 3-point shot, at a good percentage that year. If he'd have been in uniform, Golden State wins that championship in Game 5. And then they could have a legitimate argument as being the greatest single season champion of all time for the fact that they won 73 games during the regular season. And like I said, I don't compare eras, but you got the 72 Bulls who got a legitimate case. I'm sure the 72 Lakers felt the same way. The 86 Celtics, the 87 Lakers, and then the 67 Sixers with Will Chamberlain. People like that. And Hal Greer. And then, any team from the 60 Celtics. So what I'm saying is, man, history is on the line. I'm telling you. So Game 7. Now, did Golden State choke in that Game 7? Well, there's an argument that you can say that. You can say that because they was at home. But the point is, it shouldn't have came down to a Game 7, and it shouldn't have came down to a Game 6. Draymond Green should have been allowed to play in that Game 5. Because I guarantee you, if it was the other way around, if Draymond Green had stepped over LBJ like that, and LBJ reacted the way Draymond Green did, toward the end of that game 4, LBJ wouldn't have been suspended. I can guarantee you that. He wouldn't have been suspended. Even if he had the same accumulation of technical fouls that Draymond Green had leading up to that point. So game 7, it was a low scoring game. In the game 7, the nerves, your shots are tight. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's really hitting shots down the stretch until Kyrie Irving pulled up and hit that turned out to be the game winning shot over Steph Curry. To prevail in that series. But my point is, man, when you make a ruling like that, man, it changes the course of history, dog. Golden State would have won that series in 5 games. Guaranteed. And like I say, do you realize that would have been the case? Do you realize that man's finals record would have been 2-5? 2-5? Because that's what was about to happen. Oh, also, I wanted to show in their previous finals, in terms of strategy, how Golden State chose to strategize against Cleveland due to the driving kick system. Well, in the 2015 finals, LBJ shot something like 38, 39%. You see what I'm saying? Because they kind of took away that driving kick, the 3-point shot. Therefore, he had to shoot a high volume of attempts to score the points that he did. See, his style of play fell right into the hands of Golden State strategy. And to show you that was the case, because I think the finals in 2015, he averaged something like 30. How many points he averaged? About 38 points a game, something like that. Some 35 points a game, but he was shooting 38%. But check it out. He never did. He didn't average that in Miami in any finals. We know about what happened in the 2011 finals, and then the 2012 finals. That was probably his best finals representation in 2012, and in 2013 he was held to like 24, and was shooting like 44%. Because San Antonio kind of knew how to guard him. You know what I'm saying? And then I believe they would have won the finals in game 6 in 2013 if the 3 best players on the team weren't taken out at the start of the 4th quarter when the Spurs was up by double figures going into that last stanza. And the fans down in Miami, they left the arena because the game was over. That game was over, man. When fans start leaving the arena, that means the game is over. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, people, is history was altered, and you never want to have a series be determined by outside decisions or outside circumstances. And that's what happened in this series. So in hindsight, I just want to throw this out here, man. And I know it may be unpopular, man, but like I said, when you uphold competition, like I said, you can't predict injuries. There's been finals where a player has to succumb to injury due to the attrition, but that's part of it, though. That's part of it. That's why it's so hard to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? But if you're out there competing and something like that happens, to me, you can't penalize the other team. If attrition, wins over, you can't do that. But like I said, with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love in uniform for their finals in 2016, Golden State still went up 3-1. So the notion that Cleveland would have won in 2015 if Kyrie and Kevin Love were healthy, well, you can't really say that because of what was taking place in the following finals when Golden State went up 3-1. And remember, in 2015, Golden State won 67 games. They were 67-15. So it wasn't like they was like where their record was even with Cleveland per se in the grand scheme of things. The talent level on both teams across the board was the same. I just think from a schematic standpoint and his style of play, to drive and kick, it fell right into the hands of Golden State. They was like, so we'll let you get the points inside the paint. If you get inside the paint, we'll let you score, but we're gonna close out on the 3-point shooters. And that's what neutralized Cleveland attack. But at the end of the day, the suspension heard around the world. It's in ripple effects, man. It's in ripple effects. And Golden State would have won that championship. And they would have had an argument as being the greatest single season champion in the history of the NBA. And that's not even my squad, but for the sake of what they, in respect of, their record, they would have had an argument to be viewed as such. Not saying yay or nay, but the argument would have been credible, to say the least, But yeah, man, I just want to drop that nugget, man. I'm telling you, think about it. If it wasn't for that suspension, because who really think if Draymond Green would have played in that Game 5, that number one, Cleveland would have won Game 5, much less come back down 3-1. It wouldn't have happened. That's why a team in the finals never came back from 3-1 down. Never. It's insurmountable when it's, now we've seen it in a playoff series. Yeah, we've seen a team in the playoff series come back from 3-1 down. Houston did it in 95. Houston Rockets did it in 95 versus the Phoenix Suns when Mario Elie in Game 7 hit the kiss of death shot, the corner 3. And I believe they did it in 94 also. They did it in 94, and then they did it in 95. I know they did it in 95. And then Golden State had did it versus OKC in the Western Conference Finals in 2016. And then arguably the greatest playoff series since the NBA merger in 1981, Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. Philly went up 3-1, and then Boston came back and won this series in 7 games. And I believe all but one game was decided by like 2 points or less. Now that's what you call a series. That's what you call a nail biter, man. But as far as the finals, nah, it's never been done before. And if it had not been for that suspension, let's say if Cleveland had been up 3-1, you know what I'm saying? With no suspension, Golden State wouldn't have came back from down 3-1, not in the finals. There's too much pressure at that point. You see what I'm saying? But that suspension, man, it literally gave Cleveland 2 games. Game 5 was already done. And then, like I say, Draymond Green in Game 6, he played so tight because he knew if he would have got hit with another technical, he was going to be suspended for Game 7. So literally two free games was given to Cleveland to force that Game 7. And at that point, all bets are off. Either team can win. Nobody has an advantage, to tell you the truth. Because most Game 7s, if you go back and look at it in the finals, they're nail biters. Game 7, the 88 finals between the Lakers and the Detroit Pistons came down to last possession. Lakers won by 3 points. Game 7 of the finals between Houston and the Knicks, that came out to like by last possession or so. So in the Game 7, man, it's do or die. And this what makes Michael Jordan finals record such an amazing achievement, because he never allowed a championship series that his team was in even reach a Game 7. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, I just want to drop that nugget. And I ask everyone out there who's tuning in to leave comments and thoughts. And I know it may be an unpopular take, man, but when you uphold the competition, man, you know when something is kind of been handed over and was not. So until next time, this is JB. BTB, behind the bench.